What's up, guys? Coach Cobes here. This is part 4 of the Fight Camp Periodization series. So in this episode, what I'm going to do is summarize and tie in the previous episodes. So what we're covering here is the body composition phase leading into fight week. Then we talk about fight week manipulations, not in a whole lot of detail. Then we go into the importance of the reverse diet after the fight so that we can essentially get the metabolism firing, get it healthy again prior to putting it under stress in further fight camp preparations. Then we discuss the importance of making fight camp and not fat camp, and that ties in with the previous comment on the reverse diet after fighting. And then we also discuss the rehydration protocols after the weigh-in process so that you can replenish and walk into the cage, the ring, onto the mats, whatever, under the bright lights and perform when the time is right. So that's it for this series. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Next week, I'm going to do a breakdown of my debut amateur fight, which took place a couple of weeks ago. So I'm looking forward to getting that out. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Ring the bell to be notified every time an episode drops every Saturday. Much love. Peace. Let's just tidy the diet up a little bit. Now we cut out those wines. Now we eat a little bit cleaner. Okay, not super restrictive, but now we increase 2 hours training per day. Automatically, we've created an energy imbalance. All right, we do that for a week.
Yes.
Right now, or maybe we do that for 2 weeks. Okay, now you lose 1.5 kilos in that 2 weeks just from cleaning your diet up, right? When you clean your diet up, automatically your energy intake is going to come down slightly. Okay, now we've created an energy balance through a slight reduction of energy intake and energy output through increasing our training. It's only slight. Okay, so the brain's like, hey, there's not that much energy coming in, not a surplus like we had before. Let's start tapping into our own stores. Okay, we start reducing body fat, right? Body recomposition. We do this for 2 weeks. Then guess what? We're still eating. Now we're eating 2,700 calories. We're training 10 hours a day, 10 hours a week. Sorry. Okay. Now, cool. We can pull that back to 2,400 calories, 2,500 calories. Right, now we're increasing our training an extra hour a day. Now we're doing 15 hours per week, right? Again, we're manipulating that energy balance. So that, guess what? Now we've lost 3 kilos in that 4 weeks. I'm still eating 2,400 calories, right? Still eating 2,400 calories. Carbs are going to be high because you've been ramping up your training. You're peaking at this time. Okay, high fiber, lots of glycogen storage. All right, now we're good. Now, maybe we pull back to 2,000 calories. You're still eating a lot to support all of this. All right, allow that energy to recharge, reset, recover, adapt. Okay, now the physical training's done. Now we focus on the mental aspect. Now we focus on manipulating these variables. Okay, we start doing our visualization. We start sharpening our skills. All right, the training is more, I mean, it's obviously going to be specific here. It's obviously going to be specific here, but it's going to be really specific. You're going to be game planning. You're going to be drilling specific things that you're going to be working on in the fight. Okay, make sense? All right, then we go through this process again. Over here, we don't just bump straight up to 3,000 calories. All right, this is what a lot of fighters do. They've depleted themselves for so long, they get this area wrong. They've been depleted for 6 to 8 weeks, okay, in this chronically depleted state, low energy availability. Brain's like, hey, next time energy comes in, I need you to fucking store that stuff. We don't know when it's going to come in again, right? Let's go survival mode. Let's hold on to that shit, right? So what happens here is now you create extra fat cells for storage, right? And then boom, you go from 58 kilos, 63 kilos, 2 days later you're up at 68 kilos, right? Then, fuck it, all or nothing, right? What we want to do, have a couple of days where you kind of eat and drink whatever, right? But then we tighten things up again. We
Yeah.
tighten things up again. Let's say we're eating 2,000 calories here. All right, not high output. We're just manipulating these variables. Maybe we bump back up to have a couple of days where we kind of do whatever we want within reason. Okay, and then we maybe go to 2,200 calories.
Can I
And then we go
ask-
2,400 calories, and then we go 2,600, 2,800. We build that up over 5 weeks.
Yeah.
With Muay Thai,
It's smarter to, after this, it's smarter to go step by step slowly, right?
yes,
Don't just eat whatever.
no. Maybe a
Go
couple
like
days.
one day, two, one day, two, like slowly.
Gradually, yeah,
Yeah.
of course, of course. If it's difficult with Muay Thai, okay, because you guys fight so regularly.
It's hard because the body don't have enough time to recover even from the weight cut.
Exactly.
And then it's like, okay, fight again.
Exactly. So what normally happens, if you know that you're fighting again in 6 weeks' time, what do? You have 2 weeks, you're like, I'm about to go through that process again, so I'm gonna eat whatever the fuck I want. And not doing any training, right? So now we create a massive energy imbalance in the opposite direction. Okay, now our food intake has gone way up and our output has come way down. Okay, brain's like, extra energy coming in, we've just gone through this low energy availability state, let's store that shit. All right, you do that for 2 weeks, then guess what the next 4 weeks is? It's fat camp. It's not fight camp. The focus is now on losing weight. Right? Whereas if we can go through this process correctly, then go through this process correctly, now guess what? We end up back here. Now we can go through that process easier. We've got the data, we've got how, we understand how our body responds to these different variables and manipulations. All right, now we dial it in. Make sense? D weighed in at 10 o'clock at 52.2, right? 52.2.
Yeah.
So the first hour-ish was all fluids, right? So I made her like coconut water, soda water, had like a very sodium heavy electrolyte, like a gastrolyte. And then I added some glucose in there as well. Okay, so that's all about replenishing electrolytes, sodium, glucose. Okay, then she wasn't sculling that. It was just like sipping it, just to get that constant fluid intake. All right, and it wasn't until about 6 hours later that she actually had her first meal, right? Because she wasn't feeling hungry for that time. So gradually we started, introducing fruits, yogurts, things like that are easily digestible, that your body can absorb very quickly. Okay, those types of things, those simple carbohydrates, okay, your body's going to be able to digest, absorb, and start replenishing those glycogen stores. Okay, also provide a lot of those nutrients that your body's going to require to recover from that process. Right? Then maybe that might be the first 2 to 3 hours. Everyone's going to be different here. All right. Then maybe we have a protein shake. Right. Now we get a little bit of proteins in. We get some electrolytes through our milk. All right. Maybe we add some fruits to that as well, so we can up our carbohydrates as well as micronutrients. Okay. Still drinking water, and then about 4 to 6 hours later, that's when we have our first meal. Okay. And our first meal should be stuff that we've been eating here. As an example, I would be like, hey, go to Latte Cafe, have your protein waffle with your fruits and yogurts. All right, sweet. You know that your body can deal with that. What we don't want to do is add anything new here, right? Because you might cause yourself digestive stress, right? Where now you're not actually absorbing those nutrients, right? Your body's like, let's get rid of that. It just shits it out, vomits it out, whatever. All right, so I'd recommend using stuff that you've already used here. That's a perfect example, that latte protein waffle. All right, let's slot that in here after we've gone through our weighing process. Okay, 4 to 6 hours later, as soon as you start feeling a little bit of hunger, all right, cool, let's get a little bit of protein in, and let's start loading up on those carbohydrates, replenishing those glycogen stores, getting those micronutrients in to kick off that recovery adaptation process, knowing that, all right, tomorrow's fight day, we need to be performing at our best. We need to refill everything that we've just depleted through this process. Make sense? All right. Any questions on that?
take a picture.
Yeah, so we've already gone through this process before.
Yes, I wrote it down.
Yeah, so now it's like, cool, you should know when I do this, I can lose this much. When I do this, I can lose this much. When I do this.
It's really good because I wrote it down every time I did it and my weight at that point.
Perfect.
So it works.
Perfect.
I'm like, okay, I did this and that's my weight, and then I did this and that's my weight.
Sweet.
And so it works good now.
So you know that period works good. Okay, now we focus on this period.
Yeah.
Now we focus on this period. Now we focus on this period, and then come back through this process. Make sense?
Yes.
All right. Nice work. Good. Let's go boxing.